Have you ever had your life fall apart so completely that you thought you'd never smile again? Well, this is the story of Amelia Cross, a powerful CEO whose world collapsed in a single moment, and the blind date disaster that unexpectedly brought her back to life. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll see why sometimes the people we least expect are the ones who save us. Amelia Cross was a name everyone in the corporate world knew. At 32, she had built a billion-dollar company from scratch, commanding boardrooms with icy confidence and unshakable discipline. People admired her brilliance, feared her authority, and envied her wealth. But very few knew the woman behind the glass walls of her office, the one who drove herself to exhaustion, never slowing down, never allowing herself to be vulnerable. That woman was about to vanish in a tragic twist of fate. It was late one evening when Amelia's car crashed. She had been working through endless calls, tired and distracted, when a truck swerved into her lane. The world spun, the metal crunched, and in the blink of an eye, her legs were gone to her. The doctors called it irreversible spinal damage. Amelia called it the end of my life. The once invincible CEO found herself in a wheelchair, staring at hospital walls, refusing visitors, refusing sympathy. She shut the world out, convinced that she had lost her power, her beauty, and her reason to keep living. Weeks bled into months. Her assistant, who had always cared for her more like family than an employee, worried constantly. One day, in an act of desperation, she signed Amelia up for a blind date, believing that maybe, just maybe, human connection could pierce through the fortress of bitterness her boss had built. Amelia was furious when she found out, but something inside her, perhaps boredom, perhaps the faintest whisper of loneliness, made her agree. She decided she would go, if only to prove to herself that no man could possibly see her as anything but broken. The night of the blind date came. Amelia wheeled herself into the quiet restaurant, every eye turning toward her. She felt exposed, vulnerable, and humiliated. Her heart pounded as she searched the tables, but then her phone buzzed. The man she was supposed to meet had canceled. "Sorry, something came up," the text read. Anger boiled inside her. How dare he waste her time? How dare the universe mock her like this? She turned to leave, humiliated, but at that exact moment, the restaurant door opened, and in walked Daniel Hart. Daniel wasn't dressed like a polished executive or a suave bachelor. He wore faded jeans, oil-stained boots, and a flannel shirt rolled up at the sleeves. His hands were rough, his hair a little unkempt, and his face carried the sun-brown look of someone who worked outdoors. He was a mechanic by trade, there to fix the restaurant's delivery van that had broken down outside. But when his eyes met Amelia's across the room, something strange happened. He smiled. Not the forced, pitying smile she was used to, but a warm, genuine smile that saw her, not the chair. She tried to ignore him, but fate had other plans. The restaurant owner asked if Daniel could help move some heavy boxes, and when Amelia found herself stuck trying to maneuver past them, Daniel was suddenly at her side. "Mind if I give you a hand?" he asked softly, not pushing, not assuming, just offering. She wanted to snap, to tell him she didn't need saving, but there was something disarming in his tone. Reluctantly, she let him help her. That small interaction turned into a conversation. Daniel, it turned out, knew nothing about high finance or corporate mergers. But he knew about resilience. His father had left when he was a boy, his mother worked 2 jobs, and Daniel himself had once been in a terrible accident that almost cost him his livelihood. He spoke about scars not as weaknesses but as proof of survival. For the first time since her accident, Amelia found herself laughing, an awkward, rusty laugh, but real nonetheless. Over the following weeks, Daniel began appearing in her life more often. Sometimes by coincidence, sometimes because he found excuses to check on her car, though it was perfectly fine. He wasn't intimidated by her wealth or her sharp tongue, and he didn't tiptoe around her disability. Instead, he challenged her, teased her, encouraged her to try things she thought were impossible. When she broke down in frustration, he didn't offer hollow comfort, he sat with her, silent, letting her cry until the storm passed. Slowly, Amelia began to change. She stopped seeing her wheelchair as a prison and started seeing it as a tool. She returned to her office, sharper than ever, but with a new perspective. She began implementing programs in her company for employees with disabilities, realizing how invisible their struggles had been until she lived them herself. Her board was stunned. Her competitors called it weakness. But the world saw something different, a leader with heart, and in the quiet moments, away from the boardrooms and cameras, she let herself be Amelia, the woman who laughed with a mechanic over coffee, who rediscovered the joy of music when Daniel played his old guitar, who realized that love wasn't about perfection but about presence. The blind date had been a disaster, cancelled before it even began. But the man who walked in by accident turned out to be the very one who would give her back her smile. Amelia once thought she was paralyzed in more ways than one. But with Daniel, she discovered that even if her legs would never move again, her heart still could. So, what's the lesson here? Sometimes life breaks us in ways we never saw coming. Sometimes it feels like the universe is mocking us with cruel timing. But if we keep our hearts open, even just a little, the people who can heal us might walk through the door when we least expect it. Amelia never planned on meeting Daniel. She never thought a mechanic could understand the depths of her pain. Yet he became the one who reminded her that joy, love, and purpose are never lost, they're only waiting to be found again, and maybe that's why you're hearing this story today. Because maybe you, too, have closed your heart, convinced you'll never smile again. But what if your Daniel or your Amelia is about to walk into your life? Stay open. Stay alive. Because the story isn't over yet.